Ek ac chiria jo kabi crib par nahi by tt, us radusnit na zor se chilea kumakeo jagaya, or woa was medical science se pelias kotrakeo pechan chukiti. The bird had never landed on the crib before, not once in 11 months. Then one Tuesday night, he did. And nobody understood why until it was almost too late. The screaming started at 2:47 a.m. Not the baby, the bird. Maya was 9 months old, asleep in her white wooden crib beneath a mobile of felt clouds that turned slowly in the heat from the vent. The cockatiel, a 4-year-old gray and yellow male named Sunny, lived in his cage in the corner of the nursery. He'd been there since before Maya was born. Then that night, something changed. Rachel was a neonatal nurse, 12 years in the NICU. She knew infant distress sounds the way a pianist knows wrong notes. Instantly in her body before her mind caught up. She was down the hall before she was fully awake. Sunny was not in his cage. He was perched on the railing of the crib. Crest fully raised, beating his wings in short, sharp bursts against the air. Not flying, not leaving. Pacing the rail, his beak was open. The sound coming out of him was a single rasping screech over and over at a pitch she had never heard in 4 years of owning him. She grabbed him, put him back, latched the cage. Maya was asleep, breathing. Color looked fine. Rachel stood in the dark for a moment, then went back to bed. He did it again the next night. Same time, same rail, same sound. Her husband Daniel was already in the doorway when she arrived. Sunny was throwing himself against the cage bars now, crest flat, both wings spread wide, beak striking the metal in a rhythm that left small marks on the tray. He's going to hurt himself, Daniel said. Rachel checked Maya the way only a neonatal nurse checks an infant. Not scared but thorough. Oxygen monitor on the sock. 98, temperature normal. Color correct. She found nothing. They moved the mobile, covered the window, turned the vent down. 3 nights of quiet. Then on the 4th, he got the cage door open. He was back on the crib rail before they reached the room. Rachel called an avian vet. Described the behavior. The vet said it could be hormonal. Spring season territorial response triggered by the infant's presence. Some cockatiels bond intensely with babies. He said it can manifest as guarding behavior that looks aggressive. Rachel heard the word aggressive and felt something shift behind her sternum. She watched Sunny that afternoon. He sat in his cage quietly pining. Then Maya made a small sound from the nursery. Just a shifting and sleep sound and Sunny's head snapped toward the wall. His crest shot up. He took 3 fast steps along the perch. 12 years in the NICU, told her what she didn't want to hear. Unpredictable animals do not belong near infants. She had seen too many things that started small. That evening, she called her mother, asked if Sunny can stay there for a while. Rachel carried his cage to the car that night. He was quiet the whole drive. When she handed the cage to her mother at the door, he sat on his perch and watched Rachel walk back to her car through the cage bars. She didn't look back. 2 nights later, Maya's oxygen monitor alarmed at 3:15 a.m. Not a bird. The quiet 2-tone pulse of a medical device doing exactly what it was built to do. Rachel was in the room in 11 seconds. Maya was in her crib, on her back, in her cotton sleep sack. The rise and fall of her chest was there, but shallow, slower than it should have been. Her lips had a color Rachel recognized from 12 years in the NICU. She called 911 before she picked the baby up. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. By then, Maya's oxygen saturation had dropped to 82. In the ambulance, the lead paramedic read the numbers on his screen, and his face did not change. But Rachel knew how to read a face trained not to change. At the hospital, a pediatric pulmonologist named Dr. Amara Oay ran a panel, reviewed the capnography, checked the monitor data Rachel had on her phone. She sat across from them in a small room off the pediatric ward. Maya has congenital central hypoventilation syndrome. She said her brain's automatic signal to breathe slows significantly during deep sleep. She wasn't getting enough oxygen. She paused. Based on the saturation data, this had been occurring for at least 3 nights before tonight. 3 nights. Rachel did not move. Dr. Oay pulled the oxygen graph up on her tablet. A slow descending line beginning around 2:30 a.m. dipping, recovering slightly, dipping again. At these saturation levels, she said, the changes in a baby's breath chemistry become detectable. Shifts in CO2 concentration, specific volatile compounds released during hypoventilation. She looked at Rachel. You had a bird in the nursery. Rachel's voice came out smaller than she expected. A cockatiel? Yes. Birds have respiratory systems roughly 10 times more sensitive than humans. Their detection of airborne chemical shifts, CO2 buildup, volatile organic compounds is physiologically documented. There are case studies. Dr. Oay set the tablet down. Whatever your bird was responding to at 2:47 a.m., it wasn't a shadow. She looked at both of them. If the oxygen saturation had continued on the trajectory we see in the earlier night's data, she said, we would not be having this conversation in this room. Has your pet ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Sunny came home 10 days later. Maya was on a monitored sleep protocol now, an apnea monitor, a pulse oximeter, a follow-up pulmonology appointment every 6 weeks. Rachel's mother handed the cage through the front door, and Sunny moved immediately to the side, facing the hallway, crested up, watching. That evening, Rachel sat on the nursery floor with his cage open on the rug beside her and Maya in her lap in the red knit romper. She didn't say anything. Sunny stepped out of the cage. He walked to the edge of the rug. He looked at Maya for a long moment. If you want to know what else animals have detected before the doctors did, stay with us. The next story might change how you see them. Then he stepped onto Rachel's knee, turned, and faced the crib. He didn't make a sound. He just stood there the way he always had, still watching.